How's it going, everybody? ChaoticMeatball here, and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be returning once again to the funhouse that is the FireRed and LeafGreen Legendary Speedrun Series. I'm nearly halfway finished with all legendaries available in Gen 3, so I figured why not just try to finish it. Regirock is the last of the legendary golems, and boy howdy does he suck in comparison to his brethren. Oh god, does he suck. Of course, he starts with Explosion like the other two, but for the sake of putting him on equal footing, Regirock will be starting with Rock Throw, a 50 power, 90% accuracy move that often feels like it's 60% accurate. We also get some neat moves along the way, like the Regi staples of Curse, Superpower, and for the first time an actual Stab Ancient Power, but nothing else here is really interesting. There's a few useful move tutor moves in the form of Mega Punch and Kick, as well as the Rock Slide tutor that we'll find in Rock Tunnel, but aside from that, they're relatively lackluster. As are the TMs that Regirock can learn, with the exception of for some reason being able to learn the electric type TMs like Thunderbolt and Shockwave, but also having access to ground moves like Dig and Earthquake should be useful enough paired with Curse despite not having that stab that we like oh so much. As for stats, Regirock is actually pretty decent here, with a sky-high 200 defense, pretty normal for a rock type to be honest, along with a base 100 special defense for those pesky water and grass type moves, but matching that with a base 100 attack, that makes Curse and the fact that all rock and ground moves are physical in Gen 3 a blessing. Base 80 HP and base 50 special attack and speed leave a little to be desired, but it can't be a complete powerhouse of a legendary. After all, it doesn't even have high enough base stat total to compare to pseudo-legendaries. Anyway, how well will Regirock do? Comment down below what you think the final time will be, and let's get into it. So, I replaced Charmander with Regirock as my starter since I figured Water and the big defensive Blastoise should be slightly harder to take down compared to Venusaur. So, after a few rock throws, I'm out of the lab and able to head onward. The first problem is that I've got to deal with only Rock Throw, and it simply does not have enough power points to take out Brock's Pokemon. Even using Struggle won't work since it's considered a normal type move in Gen 3, meaning both Geodude and Onix will just wall up and won't let me get past them. Therefore, for I think the first time in one of these legendary speedruns, I have to grind all the way up to level 17. It kinda sucks, since this basically guarantees that Regirock will be in last place on the leaderboard, but this in turn gives me access to Curse. So, going into the battle against Brock, I set up 6 Curses, then sweep through Brock's Pokemon, using 2 Rock Throws on Geodude, and 2 on Onix to take them out and win the battle, getting the TM for Rock Tomb, and immediately throwing it onto Regirock so that I could have at least a little bit more availability in terms of attacks. The only worrying thing that happened on my way towards Cerulean City after this wasn't from any trainers, but from trying to capture Spearow. The encounter took a little while to find, not to mention I almost didn't capture it, having to use all 5 starting Pokeballs to get it. I know this sounds weird to consider worrying about, but after losing so much time in comparison to any other legendary speedrun, I need to move as quickly as possible as to have a fighting chance of it not being in last place. This led me avoiding as many trainers as possible throughout Mount Moon, taking the Helix Fossil because who cares, I just need to move. Right outside of the exit are the Karate Duo, and I figured that Mega Punch would probably be the most useful, and I'd like to keep my dual rock type Stab for now. So I taught Regirock Mega Punch and moved into Cerulean City. I knew that I wouldn't be able to face Misty just yet with a rock type, so it was a pretty instant decision for me to go north and face off against my rival for the second time. He leads with Pidgeotto, going for quick attack before a one-shot comes through with Rock Throw, leading to Squirtle. He starts setting up with Draw, so I start going for Rock Tomb, missing the first but landing the second and third, lowering his speed twice before he finally goes for an attack in Water Gun. 2 Rock Throws are able to do Squirtle in, but due to missing one of them, it's able to take Regirock down to just 9 HP before going down itself, leading to Abra. This doesn't have any attacks, so it's a simple KO with Rock Throw, leaving just Rattata. It doesn't have much to attack me with, fortunately, and since I leveled up and gained some HP, I was in the perfect position to KO with Rock Throw, winning the fight. Glad that it didn't take multiple attempts, since I'm sure Squirtle could have been a little bit more irritating if it didn't waste more time on withdraw. Moving my way on through routes 24 and 25 lets me grow Regirock up to level 23, getting the SS ticket and moving back through towards Cerulean. Now, I normally would go after Misty here, but of course this isn't any ordinary run, so I immediately headed south, getting through Route 6 and into Vermilion City so that I could grab Farfetch'd and the bike voucher, but also so that I could go after the HM for cut. So let's do the dance once again with my rival. He once again leads with Pidgeotto, but doesn't go for quick attack, so I'm able to get it by unscathed. This same happens with Wartortle, as I'm able to land 2 rock throws, only seeing a single withdraw in response, KOing and letting Regirock learn superpower. Next out is Kadabra, and since I replaced Rock Tomb with Dig, I used that, KOing next turn and leaving just Raticate to fall to a Dig and a Rock Throw, winning me the fight. Probably could have blasted Raticate at the end there with superpower, but hey, the other moves did the job just as fast, since the stat drop animations probably would have made that take just as long. But now that I've got the HM for cut, I made my way back up to Cerulean City so that I could take out Misty, since I can't use cut outside of battle until I do so. Testing Regirock on the trainers showed me that I'd be just fine, so I challenged Misty. She leads with Staryu, so I just started setting up curses to match her Hardens, using 2 of them before taking a Water Pulse, nailing a critical Rock Throw to KO and lead to Starmie. It manages to reciprocate my critical with a critical Water Pulse of its own, taking Regirock down to 8 HP, but a single Rock Throw managed to take it out, winning me the fight and the Cascade Badge. I figured that it was going to be a little harder than it was, but hey, let's see if Lieutenant Surge can do much more than Misty did. The first fight wasn't actually the best ever, since instead of setting up Curse, I went straight for Dig, KOing Voltorb and then using a single Rock Throw to KO Pikachu, leaving just Raichu. Sadly though, Dig does sorta screw me over here since it's a 2-turn move, as this Raichu is notorious for just setting up Double Team and spamming Shockwave to win, which Regirock succumbs to during this first attempt. The second attempt goes much better though, as both Voltorb and Pikachu go down to Rock Throw, leading to Raichu. I let off with Rock Throw, hitting one after missing with the first, but now I have to deal with 2 layers of Double Team. I shifted over to Superpower as it's Regirock's most accurate 1-turn move, continuing to click on it until I managed to land one, KOing Raichu and winning me the fight at almost exact half health. Kinda neat I suppose, but who cares. Alright, you know what time it is. It's time for the big ol' Route 9, 10, Rock Tunnel, and Route 8 stretch of the game that nobody likes. So it's time to plug some stuff. First of all, I've noticed that 67% of my viewership as of late are unsubscribed. So if you're this far into the video, you must be liking it, right? If you aren't, make sure you're subscribed, go down there, actually make sure that the button is gray instead of red, because I'd really like to hit that 100,000 subscriber mark by the end of the year. Also, if you want access to these videos early, then make sure to become a $5 above backer over on Patreon, link in the description. Sometimes it's just a day early, others I get so ahead that you get 2 or 3 new videos available to you before the YouTube audience does. It all depends on how long these things take me to work on. If only I were a machine, so that I could work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, dedicating my time to Pokemon challenges, and release like 4 a week. That'd be pretty neat, but I'm going way too far off the rails here that I've practically flown into the ocean several miles away, so let's get back into the run. Getting into Celadon City, I figured that the battle against Giovanni would probably be the smartest thing to do first, seeing as a grass-type leader, like Misty or Water types, are probably best handled with a bit more of a level advantage. So Giovanni time, and he starts off with Onix, and since I learned Ancient Power, I now have the ability to get Omni Boosts off of it. I used one on accident on Onix before building up Curse, using 4 of them before going for Dig and KOing Onix next turn, leading to Kangaskhan. This is a pretty easy KO with Superpower, lowering my stats and cutting one of my curses, but that's fine as a +3 Dig was plenty enough to KO Rhyhorn, winning me the fight. Curse is definitely coming in clutch during this whole run, and now that the Kangaskhan is done, I figured I'd grab Fly, head south of Lavender Town, and grab that Return TM so that I'd have a good neutral 102 power move for the Celadon Gym, replacing Superpower. This proved to be a great plan, as I was able to take out all of Erica's trainers before taking her on myself. She leads with Victory Bell, so I used Dig first, hitting for half damage next turn and getting hit with Stun Spore, which basically ruins the attempt from here. 2 Giga Drains is enough to push me to reset and try again, this time with a Cherry Berry to give me that extra edge. I led with a single Curse, and anticipated that Return would be able to KO at +1, but Stun Spore missed, so I just went for Return as she went for Poison Powder. Poisoning Regirock, of course, which isn't the best, but at least I don't have any chance of dealing with paralysis for the remainder of the battle. A second Return puts down Victory Bell as Tangela comes out, going down to a single Return itself, leaving just Vileplume. Return barely does not KO in one shot, letting Vileplume hit a Giga Drain for a good amount of damage, but it and Poison still aren't enough to take out Regirock, letting it hit one more Return to finish up the battle. I'm kind of surprised that the gym leaders with a type advantage haven't actually been too difficult. Glad that they weren't complete walls like I thought they might have been. Of course, now that I don't have any gym leaders available, I need to clear out a few additional areas before I can start cleaning house again. So let's go over to the Pokemon Tower where there's another rival battle to contend with. He leads with Pidgeotto, which of course goes for Quick Attack to do minimal damage, going down to Ancient Power, with Wartortle following up. It doesn't even get an attack off, as Return is a critical one-shot leading to Execute, who frustratingly survives a Return just barely before hitting a Sleep Powder, following up with Leech Seed. Since Regirock stayed asleep for a good few turns, it manages to get close to full HP again, but fortunately it didn't, letting Regirock wake up and finish it with another Return, which leaves just Kadabra and Growlithe. The rival throws out the former, which of course goes down to an Ancient Power thanks to its paper-thin defenses, leaving just Growlithe. And I suppose this is the first time that this has come up, but Clear Body negates Intimidate, giving me plenty of leftover power to take out Growlithe with Ancient Power, no pun intended, taking it out and winning the battle. The rest of the trainers were a little irritating to take out, seeing as most of them had Ghastly or Haunter, which have Levitate and are immune to normal-type moves, meaning my pitiful 5 power points of Ancient Power was the only way I was clearing them out. At least in the middle of the area it has that healing panel, so I don't really have to worry about it too much. Anyway, with that squared away, I can get the Pokeflute and make my way over to Fuchsia City, where both Surf and Strength as well as Koga await. Koga leads with Coughing, so I start with Return, doing over half as it goes for Self-Destruct, barely doing any damage whatsoever. Next out is Muck, so I used a single Return, and upon seeing that it did less than half, I went for Curse, and during all of this, Muck decides to use Minimize, getting +2 evasion before hitting a Sludge. But fortunately for me, Regirock doesn't miss, KOing with Return and leading to Koga's second Coughing. I go for Return, nearly one-shotting before getting a Sludge to the face, which then results in a Hyper Potion from Koga. Luckily for me, Regirock's Return is a range, KOing Coughing and leaving just Wheezing. It hits a Sludge for minimal damage as I fire back with Return, and we do the same next turn, getting him close to going down, but another Hyper Potion came into the mix, healing up Wheezing, but thanks to Regirock's determination, it gets a critical hit with Return, finishing Wheezing off next turn and winning me the fight in relatively convincing fashion. I really expected to have to use a held Pecha Berry here, but that went extremely well. 5 down, 3 to go. As per usual, it's time for Sylph Company, meaning it's time for rival battle number 5. He leads with the fully evolved Pidgeot, hitting Wing Attack for 5 damage, but Ancient Power takes it out, leading to Blastoise. Luckily for me, the strongest move it has for me is still Water Gun, so I was able to land an Ancient Power and 2 Returns, taking 2 Water Guns before KOing it, and leading to Execute. I wanted to try to fish for an Omni boost with Ancient Power, but that didn't end up working, doing over half before getting paralyzed with Stun Spore, taking a Confusion next turn before finishing it with another Ancient Power and leading to Alakazam. This thing doesn't have any attacking moves aside from Future Sight, so I KO'd with 2 Ancient Powers, fishing for more Omni boosts, but not getting any, KOing and leaving just Growlithe. I used Flame Wheel, still unable to KO despite Regirock only being at 21 HP, but of course, Paralysis finally screws me over here, holding me down and letting Regirock go down to the Future Sight. Alright, well that was extremely close. I'm sure I can take it with some additional strategy and or Omni boosts. So the start of attempt number 2 goes well, as Pidgeot goes down to Ancient Power, and I do get the first Omni boost going into Blastoise. It goes for Protect twice, taking 2 of my Ancient Power points away, but thanks to the 3 power point ups available earlier in the run, it has 8 power points, so we're definitely in good shape. Somehow, the next Ancient Power that landed on Blastoise though got another Omni boost, putting me at +2 everything, tanking a Water Gun and finishing it off next turn with Return. Third is Execute, going down to Return. Fourth is Alakazam, doing the same, leaving just Growlithe to go down to Ancient Power, winning me the battle in very convincing fashion compared to that last attempt. Apparently though, I can't seem to do any of these boss battles in a single attempt, as even Giovanni here took me more than one attempt thanks to a lethal dose of poison early on thanks to Nidorino's Poison Point ability, but the second attempt was a different story. Giovanni leads with Nidorino, so I set up 3 curses through a myriad of Horn and Fury attacks, landing a one-shot dig for the KO, but of course Poison Point kicks in on Regirock. But since I was able to do this between attempts, I slapped a Pecha Berry on Regirock to negate said poisoning, leading to Nidoqueen. The same happens here. After taking a double kick, Dig connects for the one-shot, but in a good change of pace, Regirock isn't poisoned, leaving the rest of the battle to be a sweep. Dig takes out Rhyhorn, and Ancient Power on Kangaskhan wins me the fight, and setting the area free. Now that I'm done with this, I actually took a little bit of a break from the run, which upon return made me think, oh, I can go to Blaine now, once I came back, so that's what we're doing. Flying back to Pallet Town, I was able to surf down to Cinnabar, pick up the secret key from the Pokemon Mansion, and take out the trainers in the Cinnabar Island Gym before challenging Blaine. He leads with Growlithe, so I start by going for Single Curse, taking 2 Fire Blasts as I fire back with Ancient Power, KOing and leading to Arcanine. Fire Blast does a bit of damage, but Ancient Power was a one-shot leading to Ponyta. This and Rapidash basically go down to Ancient Power once each, winning me the fight, without the need of a Rossberry. Kinda surprising as well. I was expecting one of those Fire Blasts to burn Regirock and screw me over, but it didn't. Guess that's what happens when I prepare. Afterwards, I tried going to the Viridian City Gym, then realized that I don't have all the other gym badges, meaning I gotta go fight Sabrina. Well, fight is a relative term here. By fight, I mean throw 4 Ancient Powers into her Kadabra, Mr. Mime, Venomoth, and Alakazam to get the Marsh badge. Gotta love when an entire battle is decided simply because of the base stats of the opposing team. Well, I guess because the last few gym battles have been relatively easy, Giovanni somehow was the most difficult thing ever, and that's insane given this gym battle and all battles previous usually being very easy encounters and every other legendary speedrun I've done so far. So much so that it took 14 attempts to beat Giovanni. I am very disappointed in myself. Giovanni leads with Rhyhorn, so I go for Curse, setting up 3 of them as I take 3 Earthquakes, using 2 Ancient Powers to KO and lead to Dugtrio. I was fishing for an Omni Boost, but that didn't end up working, as the one-shot on Dugtrio did not yield one either. Third out is Nidoqueen, who hit an Earthquake as I used Ancient Power, getting an Omni Boost on the first one, and not getting poisoned on either of them, as the second one KOs and leads to Nidoking, who went down to a critical return after hitting an Earthquake of its own, leaving just the second Rhyhorn. Sadly for me though, Regirock only has 19 HP, meaning it's bound to go down to anything that this Rhyhorn throws out, so I went for Ancient Power in the attempt to get an Omni Boost, failing and taking one last Earthquake, which leaves Regirock with exactly 1 HP, letting me finish off Rhyhorn with 1 more Ancient Power, stealing the match and the final gym badge. Alright, well at least that less than stellar experience is over. Let's go take on that last rival battle in the league. So, we're back to fights only taking 2 attempts, which is very nice since holy moly, I don't remember the last time I've taken more than like half a dozen attempts on a fight. Screw you, Giovanni. He leads with Pidgeot, so I lead with Regirock, setting up Curse by using it twice, taking 3 wing attacks before KOing with the Ancient Power, leading to Execute. Of course, because I'm fishing for Omni Boosts, after dodging a Sleep Powder, Ancient Power barely doesn't KO Execute, so my rival hits the second Sleep Powder, keeping me asleep for a turn, but Regirock wakes up on turn 2 as he's charging Solar Beam, KOing with Ancient Power and getting the Omni Boost before Blastoise comes out. He goes for Rain Dance as I went for Return, doing over half as a Water Gun did exactly 50 damage, going down to a second Return and leaving half of his team remaining. Rhyhorn's out 4th, and of course, proceeds to go down to 2 Ancient Powers, landing a 2-hit Rock Blast before going down itself, with Growlithe coming out 5th. It hits a rain-hindered Flame Wheel before I KO'd with another Ancient Power, leaving just Alakazam to follow up. And there's really nothing to worry about, though I do make the rookie mistake of clicking Ancient Power again, getting hit with a Disable and wasting a turn, so next turn I went for Dig, coming up next turn and KOing it for the win. Alright, and with one victory road down, it's time for a few league preparations. Firstly, I need the TM for Thunderbolt so that I could have it for Lorelei, and I just had enough money to grab it, heading back to the league and equipping Regirock with a citrus berry before going in. My first attempt didn't end up going well, getting taken out by Slowbro along with some confusion from lappers prior, but the second attempt went much better. Shocking, right? This is the run of second attempts. Lorelei leads with Dugong, so I went for Ancient Power, getting it into the red and getting an Omni boost before taking a Surf for around 50 damage. This then forced a full restore out of Lorelei, but thanks to my boost, Regirock KOs with another Ancient Power, getting yet another Omni boost before Cloyster came out. Now that I've got doubled special attack though, Thunderbolt was a one-shot on it, leading to Lapper's third. Ancient Power is a one-shot again, and I get a third Omni boost. And I'm just gonna do this math real quick. 10% chance converts to a 0.10 decimal. Then you multiply that by 0.10, which is 0.01 or 1%. Then you do it again, and you get a 0.1% chance of that happening, or a 1 in 1,000. I will frickin' take it. Fourth out is Slowbro, and despite having +3 everything, Ancient Power didn't even KO, forcing a full restore out of Lorelei again, but 2 more finished it off, leaving just Jinx to go down to the same attack, winning me the fight. Alright, 1 down, 4 to go. But now I have a wee bit of a problem. I only have a single power point of Ancient Power left, but at least I don't have to restore that until I'm done with this next fight. Before fighting Bruno though, I replaced Thunderbolt with the TM for Earthquake that I got from Giovanni, then went in. He leads with Onyx, so I just spammed Curse, taking multiple attacks in Earthquake and Rock Tomb, and setting up 5 of them before firing off 5 of my own Earthquakes, KOing Onyx, Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee, Onyx number 2, and Machamp, winning me the fight in short order. Kinda surprised that Bruno didn't end up giving me more of a problem, but I guess that's what happens when a fighting type trainer decides to lead with a rock type against another rock type. Third up is Agatha, so I healed up Ancient Power's power points, since that's basically one of the only attacks that I can use on the majority of her party. Unfortunately though for me, this fight ends up taking the most attempts out of any of the league, that being 3. Yeah, Giovanni was an outlier, and the rest of the league is pretty much cheeks from here. I ended up giving Regirock the Quick Claw, and I think that made a bit of a difference. She leads with Gengar, so I went with Curse, setting 1 up alongside Gengar's double team, so I immediately shifted to Ancient Power as she set up a second one, landing it and nearly KOing, forcing a full restore and hitting a second one before the Quick Claw triggered on the third, KOing Gengar and leading to Arbok. It has Iron Tail, but fortunately it's inaccurate and physical, so I used 4 more curses as I took some bites as well, firing off Earthquake to KO and lead to Golbat. It hit a light bite before going down to Ancient Power, leading to Haunter to fall to the same fate after missing a Hypnosis. Lastly, Gengar number 2 does the same, missing Hypnosis before Regirock lands a critical Ancient Power for the match win. There were definitely a few Quick Claw activations there, and I feel like it probably helped against the first Gengar with Double Team, but aside from that, I don't think it really was needed all that much. Fourth up on the docket is Lance, and somehow this one only took me a single attempt. He leads with Gyarados, and since Clear Body negates Intimidate, I'm able to just start setting up Curse, using one of them before tanking a Dragon Rage, and since I'm expecting another one next turn, I figured I'd just attack with Ancient Power to take it out with super effective damage, getting a critical and an Omni boost to take it out. Second out is Dragonair, who went down to a single Ancient Power, as does Dragonair number 2, triggering yet another Omni boost before Dragonite comes in. And if it wasn't very easy to guess, I was able to sweep through the last 2 of his Pokemon, taking out both Dragonite and Aerodactyl with Ancient Power to take the win. Alright, one last battle. Let's take the rival down for the last time this run, since Lord knows I'll probably fight him dozens of times in different runs after this. My rival leads with Pidgeot, going for Aerial Ace, so I went for Curse, doing this routine 5 times in a row before going for Ancient Power to KO and lead to Executor. And since I'm lucky, Sleep Powder misses as Return takes it out, leading to Blastoise, who also misses, this time with Hydro Pump, going down to Earthquake and leading into Rhydon. Since Regirock's -5 speed, it outspeeds and uses Earthquake before I can use one of my own, one-shotting and leading to Alakazam, the only Pokemon on this team that can really do much to me, using Psychic for a relatively high amount of damage before going down to Earthquake, leaving just Arcanine. Again, Intimidate's negated by Clear Body, but I was worried a little bit, thinking that it would be able to KO from this range, but Flamethrower is unable to KO. It gets Regirock down to 14 HP before going down to Earthquake, winning me the fight and the run. Unfortunately though, this is the first legendary run that managed to go over 5 hours. And for this, I have to put it in F rank, there's no other choice. Regirock, and in comparison to Regice and Registeel, they at least managed to get through in less than 5 hours. And yeah, I really can't put Regirock anywhere else but F tier, and likelihood is that it's going to be the worst legendary. I'd be shocked if anything takes that title from Regirock, but hey, maybe if I do Deoxys Defense form, that'll end up taking the mantle. Leave a comment down below if you want me to cap off this series with Deoxys Defense and LeafGreen. I think it would be pretty interesting. Anyway, next up on the list is Celebi, and I'm very much looking forward to using that nice type combo if Psychic and Grass. And yeah, that means we're finally done with Gen 3 introduced legendaries. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, click the bell, tell a friend, and don't spend more than a minute doing that, since if you are, you're taking too long. I want to give a huge shout out to my $10 and above patrons, Justin Dimmonstein, Aiden Brannon, Andy Garbery, Kyle Campbell, Landon, Michael Evans, Phoenix Fire, and Richard Jackson. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you'd like to support as well, you can head on over to my Patreon page, link in the description, where you can get access to stuff like videos early, an exclusive role in my Discord server, link also in the description, challenge requests, and much more. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to watch this, and I'll see you guys next time with another challenge. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you next time.